There was a period in time not too long ago where zombie movies and television shows were everywhere, at least in Western media. In anime, we really, for a very, very long time, only had one real example that we could point to, and that was High School of the Dead, a show that is much more recognized for its over-the-top fan service than the actual zombie apocalypse it's depicting. A few years ago, that all changed, though, when we got another zombie anime that was popular and talked about. It is somewhat funny that it came out at a point where zombie shows have not been nearly as prominent in Western media, but nevertheless, there are now two examples of prominent zombie anime, this one being Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. A show that I think does something very interesting and relatable for a lot of people, at least in the age range of the main characters, and that is to demonstrate how someone might actually find the zombie apocalypse liberating. Akira Tendou, our main character, is beaten down relentlessly at his new job. It's something that he started off feeling very enthusiastic about, only to realize it was not at all what he expected, and not at all what it seemed like it was going to be after his first day. He spends so much time at work, nonstop, to the point where he very infrequently actually goes home to his apartment. He will spend multiple days just at work. He sees how his superiors harass him and the other workers and get away with it. It's a perhaps expected portrayal of Japanese office life at this point, but I think it does do a very good job of showing how, even if you're not in this particular line of work, it's very easy to become overwhelmed, to feel like you are not being respected, that you are not living a fulfilling life, and that every waking moment is being directed and consumed by work that you do not enjoy, work that, instead of enhancing your life, ends up draining you and taking away from it. And because of that, when the zombie apocalypse actually happens, Akira feels free. His first reaction is, oh my god, I don't have to go to work anymore because now the world is ending. And that makes him overjoyed. And after seeing everything that he goes through day after day, it is hard not to relate. Like, obviously, eventually you realize, well, hold on, the zombie apocalypse really sucks. You wouldn't actually want this to happen just because it means you don't have to do your terrible job anymore. But after everything he has gone through, yeah, I kind of see where this initial reflexive reaction is coming from. And it's because he lived that kind of life and had that reaction, that when him and the other characters like Shizuka and Beatrix and his friend Kencho get together and form this little group, you can see how their personalities and their experiences shape their attitude towards this new world. Shizuka, of course, is someone who tried to prepare for this, who is very methodical, initially is reluctant to actually throw her lot in with these guys, wants to kind of do things on her own. But Akira and Ryuzaki are basically the opposite. They're just kind of winging it and trying to get through it all while trying to enjoy the liberation that they've received from their regular, torturous, everyday lives. So seeing their different perspectives and personalities play off each other and work together eventually to form this strong group of comrades is a nice thing to witness as the show goes on. And I think that the attitude that this series has is something very different from the overwhelming majority of zombie apocalypse stories, which are just focused on how terrible things are, how fragmented society is, how people are struggling to survive. Not that the show doesn't have that, but I think it tries to have more of a, let's try and look at the bright side, let's try and find our way through this, live some sort of fulfilling, better life than what we had before. In the later half of the series, when we find Akira's parents and see that this farming community is able to survive, it may not be the way it was before, but they're able to try and cut off the zombies, prevent them from getting in, and still be able to be a functional community. I think that's very uplifting, and it gives the show a much more positive attitude than I think a lot of zombie stories and apocalypse stories in general try to have. But it's nice to see a show that has the perspective of, yes, this is bad, but let's try to find a way through it. Try to find a way to rebuild, keep some sort of sense of community, whether it be on a smaller scale, like the group of Akira, Kencho, Shizuka, and Beatrix, or on a larger scale with this farming community. It's something refreshing to see. And I do wonder if this show, had it come out earlier, if it would have been a lot bigger than it was. Not that the show wasn't big, not that it wasn't marketed well, because it was very popular during the season that it aired in summer 2023. However, if you watched this show when it was coming out, you remember that it did suffer production delays. The last 3 episodes did not come out until I think end of January or February of the following year. That definitely killed a lot of hype for the show. Not just because you have to wait so long to get the end of the story, but whenever a show has production delays and it ends up becoming something that gets talked about a lot in the community, inevitably it's going to turn people off of the show, even long after it is finished and the delays don't matter anymore. People are going to hear this show had delays and inherently think, oh, that means it's not good. That means something bad happened. That means I shouldn't watch it. Even though now it doesn't matter because you can just watch all the episodes and the delays don't affect you. But there are going to be people out there who may be interested in the show, who may really like the show. But as soon as they hear there were production delays when it was coming out, they'll think the quality was bad, even though the point of the delays is to make it so that you don't have those problems, so that you have the time to fix them. That's not really how we think of it. We think if those delays happened in the first place, then things were not planned out well, that even if some problems got fixed, other ones would slip through the cracks and still be there at the end, and that somehow it means the show is not worth watching. I would implore you to not have that attitude with this show. Even though this is definitely a story that I would like to see continued, it's not as though you're going to have a perfect resolution to everything at the end of these 12 episodes. It is not that kind of ending. I think it is a satisfying enough resolution to everything going on in this existing season that ultimately the delays were a good thing to give the show the time to have a proper stopping point. I don't know how realistic it is to expect or think that there will be another season of the show, but certainly I would welcome it. And even if we never do get one, this is a good, solid series. One that I think not only gives the medium of anime a second prominent zombie example that you can present to people beyond High School of the Dead, but I also think has a very refreshing approach to the zombie apocalypse, one that inherently a lot of people, to some extent, are going to be able to relate to. Even if you don't think you would have the reaction that Akira and the others do if something like this were to actually happen, on some fundamental level, after seeing the lives that they led leading up to this, you'll get where Akira's initial reaction to not having to go back to his terrible job is coming from. So because of that, I hope that you give this show a chance if you didn't already, and if you were questioning watching it because of the delays that it experienced while it was coming out, I hope that I have encouraged you to take another chance with this series and not let the knowledge that it had those issues while it was airing prevent you from watching what I think is a very good series, and one that I don't think has gotten the praise that it probably would have, unfortunately, if those delays had never happened. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and until next time, take care everyone. Look forward to the next video.